I'm Mimi Case, and this is my dog Jackson. He's 9, and he's a therapy dog.
Um, Hi. How long have you had your dog for?
Let's see. I picked him up when he was 4.5 months old, so I've had him, as of April 1st, I've had him 9 years.
Why did you decide to get a dog?
I grew up with a dog, and then I lived in an apartment for a long time, couldn't have a dog, and when I moved to a house, I got a dog, and I've had one ever since. I think Jackson's my 4th. I think we had 3 before him. So,
What made you train your dog as a therapy dog?
well, this guy, when I picked him up, he had just had open heart surgery, and he had scars running here and here, and he was born a blue baby, which means that the blood was not pumping out of his heart, so he could use it. So he couldn't run or jump, and he had to have surgery to live. Well, because of that, I know you want to go see the girls; they're very cute. Because of that, he was really bonded with people, because the people that had him before, when they sent him to a rescue, because they thought he would just die, and they were breeders, and they didn't want him because he had a defect. So the rescue got him open heart surgery and put him on the internet on Pet Finders, and I saw his picture on there and fell in love. And because he had been carried all of his young life, he loved people. And so that's when I thought, I had read about therapy dogs, and I thought he would be really good. Relax.
How long did it take for your dog to be trained?
Let's see. He was a year old. I took him to obedience school, which I would have done anyway. And we put him on a waiting list for Torrance Memorial Hospital. They had a program for their hospital. So when it was a year and a half, I called, and they said, oh, they have to be 2. So we had to wait till he was 2. And right before then, Love on 4 Paws, which is our organization that we work with, came into Providence Little Company of Mary Hospital for their very first dog visit. And I met the director, and I told her we had been waiting for a while, and she said, go online and fill out the application. So I did, and then I got a call from them. Go see those girls. I got a call from them, and they have specific days set aside that they examine, and so they told me the next one and what to do to get ready. So that's what we did.
What are the main things that a dog has to learn to be a therapy dog?
Okay, they need basic obedience, not a lot, just go, come, sit, stay, down, just so you know they're going to listen to you. They're not going to take off and go visit some other dog across the street. And then they have to like people. And the other thing they look at is how we get along, the dog and me. So.
Do they take a test?
They do a test of us together. We test as a team, and it's a 1-day thing. And we go to a special place where there's a big auditorium like that. They can have the dogs, do different things, and they have us in the morning just do very basic things, the basic obedience, watch you, see how your dog likes people, see if he attacks other dogs, and if they're fine, then they give you a call back for the afternoon, and you come back, and the main thing they do in the afternoon is seeing how the dog reacts to wheelchairs, walkers, canes, people with weird hair. They put on great big gloves because they deal with a lot of people that are hospitalized for various reasons, or who are in special schools too. So if the dog doesn't, they test you by putting the dog and they put tape around on the floor, and these people sort of surge around you with all these tools that they use. And if the dog doesn't run, we pass. And he was scared. He was like this, but he didn't move. I kept telling him, Jackson, stay, stay, and he looked up like this. But he passed. So
How old do they have to be to become a therapy dog?
I think for our organization, they need to be at least 6 months old. And we worked with a giant poodle a little while back who was 9 months old. And a little frisky, but very good. So
Did you need any training?
just with your dog, like the obedience training, he will, like if I tell him to stay, he'll stay, but he may not stay if you tell him to stay. So you have to train the person with the dog. So,
What are the benefits that you have seen in people through this therapy that are short-term or long-term?
gosh, there's a lot. Well, scientifically, they've proven that dogs, pets, cats can, rabbits can, any pet, pigs, can lower your blood pressure. Like when you're petting them, you're talking to them, they've done those kind of tests. And then a lot of it, I think, comes from we're a distraction from a day they may be having. It may not be a very good day. Maybe they've had surgery, maybe they've had a shot. One time at Children's Hospital, I was visiting a little girl who was about 4, and they had to tell her that she was diabetic, and she wouldn't understand unless they told it to her like you're 4 years old. So we just were leaving, and they asked us if I would keep Jackson there and stay while I think it was a social worker talked to her about what diabetes was, and she used a doll and the doll, and then Jackson and the doll, and the little girl petted Jackson all the way through. So it gave her something to hang on to when she was talking about things she didn't understand, and it wasn't necessarily good news. You know, you're sick. It's not a good thing to hear. So I think it's a distraction, and a lot of people who are in special schools or in hospitals, they might have a pet at home and they never get to see them, so they really miss their pet. Like we're going to USC college, university next week during finals week, and they call us stress busters because the students are studying and they're all, you know, they've been up all night and they don't eat good, and then they have a dog and the dog kisses them and they go, oh, and they feel better.
Was there somebody that it did not work for?
I'm sorry, tell me again.
Was there somebody that it did not work for?
There are people when we go to hospitals and we knock on the door and we say, therapy dog, are you interested in a visit? There are a few people that are just grumpy and they don't want to see anybody. You know, it's not that it didn't work, it's just that they you know, not today, or they may be in a lot of pain, you know.
What are some of the places that you have visited or continue visiting?
Let's see. 2 Providence hotels, a little company, Mary Torrance, and San Pedro we visit, and behind the hospital in Torrance there's a transitional care center, we go there. There is an adult cerebral palsy home in Harbor City, I think, and we go there. There's 17 adults who have cerebral palsy who live there, and they're all in wheelchairs. And so we visit them. We go to a special school in LA called Whitney High School, and the students have multiple disabilities. And we go to Keck, USC Hospital, and White Memorial Hospital, and Shriners. We used to work Shriners, and we used to work Children's. We don't do Children's anymore. They have their own program now, so we don't do them. But and other special, there's sometimes like the USC finals week is just sort of a special visit. We do that. And I think we also do Loyola Marymount next week.
Can you tell us a story that made an impact on you about a patient or person that your dog has helped?
There's a lot the day was one of the first days I was at Keck USC hospital. A man came running out, and we were at the nurses station in the hallway, and he came running out and he grabbed Jackson out of my hands and took off. And so I ran after him. And his mother was 93 years old, and it was just right down the hall, and she just had her leg removed because she was diabetic, and she got gangrene in her leg. And I walked in, she's holding him up like this, and she goes, "I never thought I'd fall in love again." That was very cute. And there was a little boy at Children's whose mother, they had him on a brainwave monitor because he was having seizures and they didn't know why. And his mother was watching the monitor while I was with Jackson with the boy. And I heard his mother, she goes, "Oh my gosh." And I looked up and she said the brainwaves. As soon as Jackson got on the bed with him, the brainwaves made a different pattern. I don't know whether they smooth that or what, but that's pretty incredible. And then there was a boy, these are high school students. This boy was probably 15. He didn't talk and he didn't sit still, but he had a beanbag chair on the floor. And I had never met him before. I asked him if he wanted, we were taking pictures of the kids with the dogs. And I said, "Would you like your picture with the dog?" And he didn't answer me. And I said, "Well, if you do, if you want to sit down on your chair, on your beanbag chair, I'll put the dog down and I'll take a picture." But nothing happened, so I went over to another student. I looked back and he was sitting on the beanbag chair. And the aide told me after, she said, "He never sits still." So I took Jackson over and put him on the edge of the beanbag and took their picture.
How has owning a dog made you a more loving and happy person?
He's always happy. And I sometimes I just laugh. I have to laugh at what he does, or, how he's looking at me, or something he's doing. He makes me laugh a lot. And, it's like, he's very human-like, when he doesn't really have moods, but you could tell he's thinking, like he thinks of things like, I was in the hospital one day and I picked him up because the nurse was in the room and there were 4 dogs outside waiting, and 3 of them were big. And we didn't have a lot of room, so I picked him up so he would be out of the way. And I'm holding him like this, and all of a sudden he goes like this, and he's hanging upside down. One of the nurses said, "What is he doing?" I said, "I don't know, but he does stuff like that when he gets bored, like if you're just hanging out and you're not doing anything." So he decided, and he's done it about 5 or 6 times since then. He just goes upside down and he looks around. So he's funny. He's a performer. Aren't you, Jackson? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh
thank you.
my.